because I'm still at the stage of French learning where the first thing I do is blank out, and I can't remember how to say anything.
Yeah.
One of the things about Lyon was that it's not Paris.
Can you say the hardest French word you know?
Oddly enough, is aux États-Unis.
Let's see if you're gonna walk out of here alive. Paris or Lyon, which has better food?
Oh,
Hello, Deri and Marshall. Well, actually, Deri and Marshall. In this order is better.
Hello,
there.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming because you came all the way to Lyon, didn't you?
Yes.
To
We
Paris,
just got into to Paris from Lyon a little bit ago.
But it's an easy and it's a beautiful trip. So
yeah, we love it.
Yeah. Couple hours.
couple hours,
Very quick.
easy.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Not one car used.
Good. Yeah, sounds eco-friendly, right?
Yes, yeah, I love it.
Right. So you're one of those Americans who moved to France from the US to France. You did that in your 50s and from Florida?
Yes, from Boca Raton.
South Florida.
Yeah, South Florida. Yeah.
The town, the town's name is a bit difficult for me to pronounce.
Yeah.
So I skipped it.
Yeah. It's Spanish actually. It's mouth of the rat.
Rat's mouth, yeah,
mouth.
Boca Raton.
So the viewers some of the viewers might know that it's like a big enough town.
Yeah, I think so. It's
got a lot of notoriety. It's a place where the folks from New York, when they retire, they come down to Boca Raton. It's been on Seinfeld. It's been in movies.
Yeah.
So
it's getting there. It's getting its little
But so you did quite a bold move.
Yeah.
Like you sold everything.
Yes.
And say basically onwards and upwards to France.
Yes,
right.
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so why and how did you do that?
Well, we were in the process of, we knew we were going to move out of Florida. I think that was our baseline. And we were just, tired of the hurricanes, tired of the housing prices,
the insurance rates, taxes.
It was awful. So we knew we were going to move out of Florida. We were actually looking at different states, and then France was always the dream. And so because of that, we were, we had actually had a really good opportunity to come here. And so we're saying, well, maybe this is the time. I mean, we are almost 50, so it's like a weird time for it to be the time. But
we were sort of thinking Florida to something like North Carolina. We were looking at Asheville, and then Asheville flooded. And one of the reasons we liked Asheville is we figured altitude, safe from flooding, and Asheville flooded. So we said maybe we just skip that part and just go right to France.
Oh, that was supposed to be like, okay.
Yeah, we had actually
temporary stop.
Yeah, we've always had this in our mind to move here.
We love mountains as well too, and we spent a month in Asheville, and then it was just another year later it got flooded.
Yeah.
And so then we're like, well, where else should we go? And then France, like I said, France has already been the dream for us. It's we didn't think we could do it, but we were just like, all right, maybe this is it. Maybe we do it now.
I've just realized I was sorry. I was being a bit rude because it says, okay, that's Deri and Marshall and Penelope.
Penelope.
I don't know if we can see her on the wire.
She's taking her nap now. Her beauty rest. It's okay. Go to sleep, Mama.
And but it's interesting because also unlike, again, just to buy into the stereotype, like many Americans who move to France, they're looking into what comes up very often is Paris or Nice. But no, you choose Lyon. So why Lyon instead of other cities?
Well, I think one of the things about Lyon was that it's not Paris. Like we've been to Paris several times. We love it. It's great.
It's iconic.
When we sort of pulled out all of the things that we would only do once a year, or once every 5 years, or only when somebody came to visit, it just seemed a little bit more high stress than we wanted. And there's still something that kind of pulls me in the direction of Nice. But we came from some place that was just like Nice.
You went to something different as well.
Yeah. So Lyon is close to Paris. It's close to
we can get to the south of France.
Close to Switzerland. It's close to the south of France, Provence. So that's what we liked about it.
And the food.
And it's
the food is quite amazing.
Yeah, and it's a nice little compact town. It's very easy to get around. The public transportation is easy to understand.
Yes.
But it's all that needs to be to get you where you have to go. So
A lot of the time, people would actually argue about that in France, like whatever
Mm-hmm.
is the capital of France in regard to gastronomy.
Right.
And obviously, well, a lot would say Paris because it's the capital of France, but
Yeah.
like people would say, well, actually, that might be Lyon. And so
Yeah.
those cities
Yeah.
are kind of competing in a good way, but like
Yeah.
in regard to
Yeah.
gastronomy, it is indeed.
Yeah, I think of Paris as fashion, and I think of Lyon as gastronomy and food.
Oh.
It's really the chefs there are really they're well known, and they really do their art well.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think
yeah.
they do. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
So also because we talk about moving to France, and you have something that's not unusual but a bit specific. Like you're not retiring to France.
Mm-hmm.
You moved, I think, on a profession libérale visa. That's what you told me.
oh no, we moved on a we had looked at a
Okay.
professional liberal visa, but we moved on a VLS-TS,
okay.
a visitor visa for a year.
And you're
it's-
looking into extending into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's we have a lot of business ideas all the time, and
Yes.
and
Yeah.
sometimes most of the time we don't act on them. But it's definitely a good option. When we moved, the fastest path that didn't require us to go back to the United States to sort of re-up was the VLS-TS, and so that's what we chose. And I mean, I'd love to tell the story of it, but it would take 30 seconds. It was such an easy process. It was a really good experience.
Yeah, the visitor visa, the non-working one, is indeed fairly well. I mean, you need to get your ducks aligned in a row.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Yes.
And then there's supporting documents and stuff.
We found it actually quite easy. We were not. We didn't. We were very surprised at how quickly we got to sign up for our interview. Not interview, but
Miami,
where
I
we were.
suppose?
Yes, Miami,
Yeah, it
and
was
we just
Miami.
handed in all of our documentation. I think we came in with a stack this high of everything. We were just like, what if they ask for this, and this? And the guy gave it back to us like, you don't need any of that, but you can have.
Yeah.
we just need a couple of
These
things.
10 sheets will be fine.
And then it was a Friday, and we submitted everything. And then the next Friday, we got our
1 week.
visitors,
Yeah.
our stuff back, and it was
Good,
like, oh my
good
gosh,
stuff.
like that's
But you can't-
we're
I
going
mean-
to France.
This is kind of the recipe for success for
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. You
Yeah.
came prepared.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
That's what we heard about France is when you have to go to an interview and bring paperwork, bring 2 sheets for every 1 sheet you're supposed to
Yeah.
have.
Yes.
Just everything
Just
you
in
might
case.
need.
And exactly what
Yes,
they
okay.
ask for,
Yes.
that should be fine. This
Yes.
is-
Yes.
If they ask for a birth certificate, something that was
Yes.
written birth certificate,
Right.
will get the job done.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've been around for 6-ish months.
6 months, a little
Yeah.
over 6
Tad over
months.
6.
We're,
Have
we're
you
newbies.
had typical or stereotypical, I should say, French bureaucracy interaction kind of stuff? Or not yet?
Well, yes and no.
Yeah,
You've done it more than me.
I've handled most of the bureaucracy. So from purchasing a car and getting the insurance that we needed to do, which is not French government bureaucracy really, but the banks have been a little bit of a challenge. But I mean, in our position, I can understand that. The biggest experience I've had so far with French bureaucracy was exchanging my driver's license for a French license. And on one hand, there was a lot of back and forth, and there was a lot of, well, we know we didn't tell you you needed this paperwork, but you send it to us anyway, right? Second round. But after all that said and done, it took 5 weeks start to finish, and they quoted me 8 months, 8 to 10 months. So I got to say, I haven't had a bad experience with French bureaucracy yet. So.
And you're just getting started because you
Yeah.
also mentioned you're very heavily invested into trying to learn French, for
Right.
example.
Yes.
But I suppose, obviously, like you're still at the early stages, so with all of those guys, you have to deal with stuff in French as well.
Right.
So you still manage despite the language gap, I would say.
Yes. No,
So
absolutely.
it shows it's doable. That's what I'm saying.
It's
Yes.
doable. It's difficult when you're forced to go face to face with somebody, because I'm still at the stage of French learning where the first thing I do is blank out, and I can't remember how to say anything.
Yeah.
If I can email somebody, that's a lot easier, right? That I can check my work and and all that. But I think the bureaucracy is going to get harder to deal with, and I'm
But
not
more digital as well. So
yeah,
in a way, it's
that's true. A lot of stuff seems to be coming online. We've talked to folks that went through a process 6 months ago, and it was all in paper. You had to go down to an office, and now when we do it, it's online. So that seems to be moving that direction.
That's great. No, it's so that kind of bureaucracy reality check in a way, like you're living proof that I mean,
it works.
Well, obviously we won't say it's all like a walk in the park or something.
Right. No,
it's completely doable because
It's
moving to
doable.
France, not speaking French, and trying to learn like probably most we do, but still like you do manage, and you're here and you're thriving.
Yes, yes, we do love it.
You
here.
even managed to go on the train.
Yes.
Not a problem.
Not walk into any kind of protest. Shows your high survival
Well,
skills.
we kind of are like, all right, Thursday is going to be the crève. So let's kind of lay low.
Yeah.
And so.
But actually, because a lot of people moving also consider or contemplating this idea of moving with pets themselves. So what's the story of Penelope,
I mean,
say, relocation to France?
It was actually the most stressful thing about moving to France because everything was, you have to get her microchipped. You have to make sure that the rabies are within a certain time period. Those things were relatively easy. But then there's only a certain amount of time that the vet has to get the health certificate.
From the USDA.
From the
From the
USDA. And there are times that it can only be released about 10 days before travel. So there's this window that you kind of have to work with. So the vet versus the USDA, and then you're just kind of sitting there waiting. It was the very last thing we needed to travel. And we didn't get that till about 16 hours before we left.
Wow, last minute.
Yeah, so we were thinking, oh my gosh, if we don't get this certificate, maybe I can go ahead, because then we'd also sent our baggage ahead to where we're living. So it's like somebody has to be there in about 2 days to get it when it gets delivered. And then, but then we're not gonna leave her, obviously. So somebody might have to stay behind. So we're just, there were all these like last minute plan B, plan C of what we would have to do. But luckily it came in about 16 hours beforehand. And once we got that, it was just like, okay, we're really going to France now.
It was the only thing we really couldn't plan ourselves, but it was out of our hands. USDA, the vet, that was it. And we're just watching the back and forth.
Yeah, and it was,
And once you arrived in France, so then you dealt with the French paperwork.
Actually, so they check for that certificate before you fly. So if you don't have that certificate, they're just not going to let you on the plane.
The French airline in the United States was required to make sure the certificate was in
used
hand.
Air France.
Actually, we used La Compagnie.
Company.
Oh, yeah, very good. This one, great.
That was great. I love them. It was the only business class cabin I can get with.
Yeah, but then they have like lower rates compared to like the typical.
They
business
really
class.
do, and they're great. We highly recommend them. But once we got here, it was like all of our stuff got checked. Yeah. And it's like, oh, there's a dog.
Yeah, there's a dog.
Like they did not care.
Okay.
Now, once we get to the vet, to be checked in, I guess a microchip. There is also she has her little EU passport that we have to get.
I was about to mention the pet passport.
Yes, we have that. I think we just need a photo for her because we plan on
wasn't that cute, like the pet passport?
Yeah, it is.
But the process here has been very simple. They want to make sure you have the paperwork, but if you do, easy process.
Yeah,
but we love those passport stuff. A fun anecdote is that I forgot, it was probably like in the 80s or 90s. I wouldn't tell that. They were showing the Ramses II, like the Pharaoh king.
Oh yes.
Mummy in the Louvre.
Oh.
But like because he's a guy.
Yeah.
They had to do a passport for the guy. And like with the name like Ramses II, date of birth,
amazing.
profession, king. So we are out on that.
I love it.
We love passports.
That's great.
Yeah, we love that.
It's amazing.
And actually, before you end up in Lyon, you also, obviously you had a few tours in France. And that very first one took you to one of those medieval villages you mentioned in the Beaujolais, I think it was.
Right. We don't need a car in Lyon, but we got one, a small used car, just so that on occasion we could get out of the city and explore. I mean, we have to. Most of our exploring now we do in Lyon, right? We live there and we want to make sure we're familiar with our city, but a few times we've gone out, and one of the times we went out, we went to Wang and then Charnay,
Okay.
kind of right next to each other. And those are a couple of the villages where they use the limestone quarries that have the high
love
levels
those.
of iron. So everything's
Beautiful.
orange buildings. It was gorgeous. And that was a lot of fun. And that is in kind of the southern Beaujolais region. We've done a little trip to Provence. We've done a little trip to
Annecy.
Annecy, yeah, yeah.
Is it Annecy or It's Annecy.
I would say Annecy.
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 Yes. So
And you kind of mentioned, I think it was in one of your episodes, that it kind of reshaped your own perception of what people would call home.
yes. Yeah.
In a way. So in what
Yeah,
ways?
it's you get out of the city, you're actually driving a car again, and
Which is weird.
and then you're just looking at just the beautiful landscapes, and then obviously villages and towns that have been there for a millennia, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's just stunning, and the dream really is to have that little French country farmhouse somewhere, just really peaceful. You can grow your sunflowers and just really, be a part of nature, and possibly have maybe a little place in town. I don't know. That would be the dream, for sure.
You mentioned Sam, I think it was in another of your videos, the unfair Lyon advantage cost wise. I mean, because you mentioned Paris obviously, but also so I think it's interesting. Can you just maybe touch base on one or two of those advantages? I mean, like again, cost-wise, what would be the benefits of being in Lyon compared to Paris that you found or you came across?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about the walkability and how it's a smaller, tighter, smaller city, but it's got everything you need. I mean, it's got 2 Apple stores. That's all I need.
That's very true.
But cost-wise, we have some friends that we met here, and we were eating dinner with them the other night, and they were telling us that that they have an apartment in Lyon, and they have an apartment in Paris, and they spent the same amount on both apartments because they kind of go back and forth for work. But the Paris apartment is a multi-store walk-up with no elevator. That's a third the square footage or square
Typically
meters,
Parisian, yeah.
right? And that every time they go out to dinner, it's just any little thing you get is very expensive. And so cost-wise, if you buy a dozen eggs or 10 eggs, however they come, then it's going to be roughly the same price. But when you start looking at real estate and just the cost of going out and eating and those kinds of things, that's what I think is the big difference, is those costs between the two cities.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by no shape, Lyon is still relatively expensive. It's one of the top cities.
Yeah, I think it's the second behind Paris.
Yeah, it's not inexpensive, but it's still not. There's still a shift from the amount we were spending in Boca, which is, of course, how we were really kind of looking.
Story.
If we came between Boca and Paris, we may or may not have had cost savings. We don't really know. It's probably just about the same prices, but Lyon would definitely give us more of a cost savings than I think also Nice as well.
And also you mentioned yet another benefit again from your perspective in being in Lyon, which is what you call like it's a travel hub. Like you're 2 hours from Paris, you're 2 hours from the Alps, you're not that far from the Riviera as well.
Yes.
Can you detail why you think it's also like perfectly located for what you want to do?
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for Paris for transportation, right? Because everything leads to Paris,
goes,
right?
Yes,
if you
absolutely.
want to go to the other side of France, you're going to go through Paris to get there. So, but the thing that I like is you go four different directions from Lyon, and you get 4 different landscapes. You can go east and hit mountains and ski resorts. You go south, you're at the beach in a couple hours, but then you have to pass by Provence first, right? It's just there's just something different in every direction. In Annecy there's that beautiful lake just surrounded by mountains and hiking. So maybe strictly speaking, Paris gives you better travel opportunities, but if you want to stay a couple hours away from home and be able to hit almost any kind of climate, any kind of outdoor activity, Lyon is very well situated.
Okay, good.
very much.
Well, this is really interesting. Would you have also kind of a, obviously, going to be general piece of advice for anyone listening who might be tempted to move to France? Obviously, like you did, does involve a bit of getting outside of one's comfort zone. So,
That's exactly
what
what it
would you
is.
say or recommend, a kind of advice you would give to those people?
You go first.
Oh, okay.
You're on a roll.
I would say, and you'll hear this advice for not just moving to France, right? It could be anything. But if you wait for the perfect time to do it, you're never going to do it. You're better off saying, these are the gates, like these are the 5 check boxes I need to check. And once I check those boxes, I'm ready to go. Perfect or not, I've told myself that this is what I need to accomplish before I can make this move. Because if you really want to do it and you wait for the perfect time and you end up not doing it, you're hurting yourself, right? You're not realizing the thing that you decided was the one thing you wanted to do. And so figure out what it's going to take, do your research, have a contingency. But once you check that 5th box, get on the plane.
Yeah. You just go.
Get on the plane.
Get on the plane.
You honestly have to have a leap of faith to do it. You really just have to make sure that all your paperwork is correct and do all of that stuff and do all of the technical stuff. But then once that's done, you're just going to have to just trust that, like, all right, you're making this change for a reason, and you have to have that leap of faith that, all right, this is what I want the rest of my life to look like,
And I think you probably can confirm that, but you say a leap of faith, but at least on the French side, they'll probably be or feel very welcome. Like we do like or love, I would say, like Americans, like, again, on general, I mean, there's going to be the odd guy all the time.
Yeah,
but
of course,
on average,
yeah.
You told me that it's kind of like you felt, apart maybe sometimes when you try to speak French and they answer back in English.
Yeah.
But
No,
otherwise you feel...
I think I had a little bit of an epiphany the other day because I was just kind of going and running errands in the little village that we live, and there was this little festival that just popped out, right? And there was a drag show, and there were kids playing at the playground, and there was an orchestra, and they were playing all of ABBA, which is like, and then
people truly getting along together.
And then old and young, everybody was smiling, everybody was happy, and this is just a normal Saturday, and it is that sense of community that I think we were always searching for, and now it's like we have it. It was one of those like, this feels right. This is good. This is why.
It almost makes me want to go to Lyon now.
Oh, you should come. I love Lyon. It's a great little place.
It's good. Yeah, we're getting to one of the favorite part of my show. This is the quickfire round of questions. So that's 2 of you. So play it as you want. You can answer both or each.
And are we answering and explaining if it needs, or just answering?
Oh, well, as you see fit. It's.
Okay.
I'm going to try you. So can you say, because you mentioned learning French at quite a fast pace. Can you say the hardest French word you know? What would be each of yours?
So oddly enough, is aux États-Unis.
In the US.
I don't know why my mouth cannot say it properly.
There's
I
a lot of
don't know.
Z's.
Yeah, like I put T's where there should be S's, and I don't know why, but it.
I think I'm okay with those États-Unis. For some reason, I have a problem with heureux, right? Les heureux.
Yeah, anything with an R in it.
Yeah, so then you've got that in heureux. See, I can't. Those are the ones that mess me up. Still.
I suppose I should try to get you to say bouilloire.
Bouilloire.
Oh, that was really good.
Fine.
He's so
hard on himself. Yeah.
This one is good as well. Yeah.
He's so hard on himself.
Apparently, those are one of the hardest to pronounce in English. Yeah. Well, coming from the US.
Yeah.
So, okay. Breakfast, croissant or bagels?
Croissant. Always.
Here, croissant.
Can still be tempted back home.
I can still be tempted.
Okay. Well, how long? This one is beware of if immigration is watching. The answer is very important. How long do you think the perfect lunch break should be?
Well, I don't think there's any reason to mess with the 2-hour lunch break. I mean, it's tradition. Let's not mess with tradition.
I think it should last until the next morning when you have to go back to work again. I never take a full 2 hours, but I love that it's there.
Yeah.
Well, that might change. I've had dinner with one of my British friends yesterday, and her husband is French as well. So okay, but then took 3 hours.
There you go.
That's my fear. You give me an inch and I'll take it. Next thing you know, we'll have a grève on the streets that we want 3-hour lunches.
And then you have citizenship. Well, I mean, we talked about bureaucracy, but I mean, US is not that easy either. So what's the hardest actually? Is it French bureaucracy or filing your US taxes?
Taxes, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, we have someone do taxes for us, but when,
So you need someone to do it. That means it's not
100%. Yeah, no.
The U.S. taxes are harder. Yes, they give you a better opportunity for deductions, but they are harder to do than French bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Let's see, because we're in Paris. Let's see if you're gonna walk out of here alive. Paris or Lyon, which has better food?
Ooh, well,
Lyon.
I kind of have to say Lyon. For sure, right
Okay,
now.
well,
No, well,
let's
look,
look
like
around
I
if no
said,
one's listening.
I mean, I'll give the fashions to Paris, but the food is.
I've not eaten everywhere in Paris. I've not eaten everywhere in Lyon, but my favorite top 3 meals that I've had in France have been in Lyon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we did go to an Alain
Alain
Ducasse
Ducasse, right, that was
restaurant around the corner here.
I've learned recently
Fabulous.
he's supposed to be
Yeah.
the most, well, I'd say the most decorated chef on the planet.
Yeah. Well, Lyon is all about Paul Bocuse.
Right.
And
All right, 2 of the top 3 meals that I've
yes,
been in Lyon.
yeah. I can't take it away from Alain Ducasse. It was very good.
And so, talking about traditions, are you rather like Loire castles or more like beaches on the Côte d'Azur, Riviera?
Loire castles.
Yeah, for
nice.
sure. You know what it is that I think we've done the beach thing. Not to say, of course, the beaches are always magnificent no matter what, and we have to go see the Mediterranean. But we're really into castles and really into the greenery and the mountains and all of that. So yes.
And so, last but not least, this time I got it right. See how French you became within 6 months. Are you still kind of hugging persons or la bise now?
Oh yeah, double. Oh yeah, all day long.
Marshall is waiting.
Hugging. I'm still not fully on board with the les bises.
Oh yes, yeah. It was great. I think we met a friend the other day. We were at his restaurant actually. We saw him, and he went up and I think he gave you a double kiss as well. And I could tell, and of course Marshall was fine with it, but I was like, oh.
And the inside I was tense.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm getting used to it. I'm loosening up to it.
Now you know how we feel about hugging.
Yes, I love it. I mean, now I think we go to our little, we have a little hangout spot that we've been going to since day one. And now we know everybody there a little bit, that it's just a thing now. We just say hello, give double kisses, and sit down and catch up. All in French, because they don't really speak English too much. So every time we get there, it's a little bit more engaging.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for answering all of those questions. Before I let you go, if people want to reach out to you or get in touch with, how can they do that?
We have our little YouTube channel from South to Nord that we started 3 months ago, and it's just basically all about our travels here.
Okay, so it's South to North, and they can find this on like hashtag. Okay.
Yes. Yep. My YouTube from South to Nord. Yeah. So.
Good.
We'll be there just hanging out and talking about Lyon.
And if somebody is watching and does reach out to us, by all means ask us questions.
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah. This is not really a business for us. It's just we're kind of just trying to share. Yeah. It started out just sharing what we were doing with our family and friends, and then we said maybe other people would be able to benefit from some of this information. So. We love answering questions. If you have questions, ask questions.
Yeah, I love the authenticity I could see there. Yeah. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
See you soon.
All right.
Bye. Bye.